Hi, and welcome to Karen's Kitchen Easy. Together with our kitchen basics, tips, and tricks, we're going to make you the star of your kitchen. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out the link below this video. It will take you to karenskitcheneasy.com where you can get a printable version of today's recipe. Just remember, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But wait, it is easy, and you can do it too. Today's lesson is Summer Strawberry Granita. Granita is very similar to a sorbet in that it's a frozen dessert, but it's a little bit more like a slushy, a very, very flavorful slushy. But it's very easy to make with what you have around the kitchen. And as you can see, there are very few ingredients, just 3. We have strawberries and sugar and a little bit of lime juice. Now my strawberries are frozen. You're going to want to take about a quart of them. They can be frozen or fresh because they are going to go in the freezer after all. These just happen to be some that I froze. And then we're going to take about a half a cup of sugar. Now more or less depending on how sweet you like things. But we're going to put the sugar in with the strawberries and stir them in together. And we're going to allow them to macerate. Now macerate simply means that the sugar is going to draw out some of the natural sweetness from the strawberries. So we want to be sure we get the sugar very well distributed among all the strawberries. And to that we're going to add about a half a teaspoon of lime juice. And that just keeps everything very fresh tasting and gives it a little citrus edge to it. So we want to stir that up well. And then we're actually going to let it set for an hour or 2 and allow the maceration to occur. Allow the sugar to pull out all of those great juices from the strawberries. Now you can add some liqueurs to this and make it kind of an adult dessert. You can add kirsch or drambuie or chambord. I'm not going to do this because I'm actually serving at an afternoon tea, but it does make a delightful combination and gives it another layer of flavor. Anyhow, we're going to let this set for an hour or 2 to macerate. So I'll see you back here then. Now our strawberries have had time, and you can see how the sugar has pulled out some beautiful juices from our strawberries. And now we're going to blend them up and make a puree out of them. And a puree simply is a blended version of what you have in your bowl. I'm going to use immersion blender, one of my favorite tools in the kitchen. They're great because they're not very expensive. You can get them in any grocery store, kitchen supply place, or big box store. And the nice thing is that the top actually can be removed and put in the dishwasher. And you can see there that it does have a blender end, so you've got to be careful when you handle it. But you can use it on the stove or in a bowl or pretty much anywhere. So we're going to put the end down in our bowl and press the button, and it's going to start blending our strawberries, and just use an up and down motion to be sure you get all the strawberries incorporated up. And as you can tell, this is a voiceover, so you're not going to hear the whirring of my immersion blender going on, but just get it blended up, and you can see the beautiful color that we're achieving with this. Now in another one of my videos you will see me using pretty much the same ingredients and the same process to do a summer soup, a dessert soup. But in this case, we're going to freeze everything. So we have everything pretty well blended now. There's a few little bits of strawberry I'm going to get out of my immersion blender. Be sure I have everything. And it's a beautiful color. And now we're going to put it into a pan, a freezer-proof pan that's deep enough to incorporate all of our strawberry bits. Scrape it into the pan here. And it's going to go into the freezer for about 45 minutes. And be sure you don't leave it too long because we don't want it to freeze firmly and completely. We just want it to partially freeze. So anyhow, at this point, we're going to put it in our freezer for about 45 minutes. So I'll see you back here then. Now here we are with the wonders of YouTube. We're going to take our fork and drag it across the granita, and you can see that at the edges it's gotten a little bit more frozen than the center, so we're going to be sure we draw those sides and corners into the center to be sure all of our crystals are distributed evenly. And we're going to keep mashing until we get a nice even size ice crystal. And that's very important here because we don't want lumps of ice. We want a very consistent slushy that we're going to achieve here at the end. So we keep on stirring, and there we have, you can see a nice fluffy consistency, and it's very consistent consistency. And when we achieve that, we're going to smooth the top out, and it's going to go in the freezer again for another 45 minutes. Now the difference between Granita and sorbet is that sorbet is made in an ice cream maker, so it keeps moving as it's freezing, so the ice crystals are much smaller. A sherbet, on the other hand, actually has a milk content to it, so it's creamier. And then on the creamiest side of the spectrum is ice cream, which has a very high cream or milk factor to it. But there we've smoothed everything out, and it's going to go in the freezer. And now it's back out of the freezer again. And we're going to drag that fork across it again. Again, pulling the sides into the center to be sure everything stays very consistent. And that we break up all of those larger ice crystals. A little bit of elbow grease here it takes, but you can see it's retaining that beautiful color. And I wish you could smell it because the aroma, even frozen, has just a beautiful fresh strawberry aroma to it. Not like anything you're going to get in a store because there's not going to be any preservatives or additives or anything like that. So we've broken it up nicely, and then we're going to start spreading it out again because we're going to freeze it one more time. So it's going to go back in the freezer for another 45 minutes. I know this seems like a long drawn out process, but the work that it takes between those 45 minutes, you can see, is very short. So off we go, 45 minutes. Now, we brought it out of the freezer one last time. We're going to break it up one last time, and you can see it's going to take a bit of elbow grease this time to drag that fork across. But there you can definitely see those ice crystals forming. And we're just going to break it up enough to be sure everything is consistent and spoonable. And then we're going to spoon it into serving cups. You can get fancy and put them into little aperitif cups or martini glasses. But we're just going to put them into some bowls here. And it's a wonderful, refreshing dessert, not too heavy after a big meal. And just remember, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. But wait, it is easy, and you can do it too. So I'll see you next time on Karen's Kitchen Easy.